So choosing a calendar booking system is a very important thing. If you want to take calendar bookings, payments that goes with it, it is uh, overwhelming for a lot of people because there's a lot of solutions and there's a lot of criteria. So l- l- let me show you what I think are the primary criteria and then some of the other ones as well that you should put in your list, and then I'll tell you what to do and how much time you can expect that would take to implement. So, first thing is to look at payments. So, payment processors, so PayPal, Stripe, and then some people have other type of payments. Taxes, so depending on where you are and how you collect taxes, that could be another thing that could be important. So have a look at that. The other thing I would say is, how do you take the payment? Do you ask people to book first, for example, a 1 hour session, and then the price shows up just after that, and then they click the payment, or you ask them to pay before, and sometimes it could be just for an hour, sometimes it's multiple choices, so you could buy 1 hour, 5 hours, or 20 hours, and then you make bookings after that. So have a look at those scenarios, make a list. What I would suggest is make a list of those requirements. And if you're not sure, uh, go with the default ways of the tool you've picked. But if you have specific requirements, some of the vendors will not have something specifically. So what I would say is make a list first, and I'll tell you what to do after. So the other criteria is group booking. If you have, especially for classrooms, if you set classes, yoga teachers or group, anything with group booking, where you have 10 slots available, and maybe 3 courses per day or per week. And so that is, more difficult to manage, more engaging to set up at least, and it's something that you should have all those things. So if it's minimum, for example, I need a minimum of 6 participants, but no more than 12. Then those little details, it has to be managed by the booking calendar system. Uh, if it's done automatically, that's great. Sometimes you can do it manually, so maybe someone will overbook the class, and then you can just refund or reschedule, by changing your policy, saying, in rare cases, we will need to reschedule you, or something like that. So it's all those little things that will affect which platform you take. Multiple staff is another big one as well, and it can get very detailed. So if you have 3 teachers, and they have their own schedule, then how is it handled? Are you creating multiple classes? So when the first one is filled up, then it's going to create another one with the available teacher. That type of scenario, you have to look into that and see what fits or not. The other thing is time zones. So some people have classes in different time zones. The people have different. The teachers are in different time zones. You might have teachers, and then you have the sales people as well. So you could have a 15 minutes, appointment for free as a free thing for your prospect, and then you assign them to classes. And then in some cases, people travel. The staff will travel, change time zone. So all those complex scenarios, have a look, make sure that is supported by the platform that you're looking at. What I would say as well is, so write down your detailed scenarios, all those things that refunds, and how things are scheduled. Make a list, and I'll tell you after what to do with it. The other thing I would consider, so all these reminders, how do you handle that? The platform I'm using, so I don't know every platform on the planet, but like the one I have, it will send an email 24 hours before with a reminder, and an hour before as well. Some of them allow for clients to reschedule. They can, reschedule their meetings. Some of them, it's like it's not possible, and if they pay, that's it. They just lost the booking. So all those things as well, how customizable you want it to be. And if you want SMS or just email, have a look at that. Integration, so integration on your website. So how is it going to be displayed on your website? Ideally, or in some cases you want a page on your website, so it's mydomainname.com/booking, and then you have the calendar option. Sometimes what you want is integration with your live chat system, your CRM, Slack, and all sort of stuff. So that all those things, have a look at different platforms and see if it really suits what you need. The look and feel, sometimes we look at some of the platform and it doesn't look great. So if it's important, if you have some branding requirements, have a look at that. And then the type of reporting and how to manage the backend as well. So if you have a lot of booking, there's a place usually in the backend where you can go and cancel things or send reminders manually, reschedule people manually. So all those things in the backend as well, something that can be important as well. So once you have all those scenarios listed out, what I would do is contact vendors and say, hey, here's my scenario. I've got 3 teachers in 2 time zones. I want to take payments before classes, and the classes could be 1 hour or 4 hours, and I have coupon codes that I want to give. So all those things, and I'm using Gmail, I'm using Outlook, I'm using iPhone 6 and this and that, and see if what they will say and where they can fit in, and where maybe things can be done manually, or maybe it's just not possible at the time. And the other thing to do is do a trial. So most of them have free trials, and see for yourself if it would do what what you need it to do. In terms of implementation, I would say the minimum, even if you're a solopreneur, a one person shop, at least 4 hours, and maybe 4 to 10 hours. There's all this calendar syncing they have to go through. If you have a phone as well, then you have to make sure that is synced properly there. You have to manage all this email response and building the calendar and all those things. Like you want to, it could be a 15-minute free call, or it could be a 1 hour paid call. So all those things, how do you connect with your payment processor and all that stuff? Something to do that. And when I say training, it's whether training your staff to use the thing and getting used to it, or just you learning that, I've got a booking, and the client wants to reschedule it. How do I do that? Should I just reply to him by email, just change my calendar manually, or go in my calendar application and do it from there, so the reminders are will be resent? So all those things, there's a learning curve there as well. So the 4 hours is really a very simple way of doing it. It could be easily 8-10 hours, and then if you have multiple staff and stuff like that, and complicated scenarios, then it can be definitely more for larger setup. So that's it. I hope this helped. I know it's a lot to cover. Unfortunately or fortunately, there's a lot of different vendors, and they all have pros and cons and ways of doing things. So I hope this can help. I would say, make a list based on what I've talked. Do the free trial, contact them, and make sure that your scenario that you want is done. The other thing is, or pick a vendor and basically, go with the way they work. So if they don't offer coupon code, then just don't offer coupon code, and that's it. So sometimes, I see some clients or potential client being held up by one feature. Is it that important? I would say it's impossible to have everything in one way. Even if you find a perfect solution, then it integrates with your calendar on your phone and Gmail and this and that, and it does change over time. So there will never be a perfect solution. But I think there's a better solution than others, and I think it really depends on your needs. So I think that's it. I'll leave you to that. If you have any questions, if you need help, I only do calendar-based system for my own clients when they hire me for a full website. So if you're interested and you're considering getting a new website, please feel free to contact me, and I can advise on a calendar booking system as well. It would be a pleasure to do that. Thanks a lot. Bye.